Let us worship. That was awesome. Very spooky. Good morning, everyone. My name is Zach Stickney. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at South Valley UU Society. My pronouns are he and his. Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter your gender, whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes. You are welcome here. No matter what you have experienced in the past, no matter what awaits you in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. You are welcome here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society.
As we gather today to honor and to celebrate the wisdom of our ancestors, we take pause. We take pause to notice that this year has been a difficult one, and it is continuing to be a difficult one in the midst of COVID-19. The last few weeks here in Utah have brought us a rapid rise in caseloads, and our hospitals are close to capacity, if not overflowing. As we walk through today's service together, let us hold all first responders, the nurses and the doctors, all of the staff at our hospitals and medical facilities, those who are on the front lines, our teachers, our educators, and all of us in the greater Salt Lake area as we find our way through this together. And wear your mask all the time. Unfortunately, this morning, our guest musician, Paul Mercer, was unable to be with us due to a power outage resulting from, I believe it was the 29th or 30th hurricane in the Gulf this season. So we hold Paul and his family in our hearts, as well as all of those who are struggling in the southern part of our country. Our call to worship this morning was written by David O. Norris, and it's called Upon Each Samhain. And it goes like this. In the glowing of the candle, from the shadow on the wall, I watch for you in every movement and hear your footsteps in the hall. Can you sit and spend the morning as the portal opens wide? Ancestral dead, I bid you welcome. Most recent dead, I pray, abide. When you come, I sense your presence. I put my hand out in the air. A moment then, we stand united, palm to palm, while waiting there. I miss you most upon each Samhain. When the boundary turns to sheer, we share these hours until the nightfall, then bid farewell until next year. Let us now sing together.
We'll be singing hymn 1001, Breaths, from the Teal Hymnal. The words should show up in the chat box, and you are welcome to sing along, though you will remain muted. Listen voices heard, 'tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees, they are in the groaning woods, they are in the crying grass, they are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. Is the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard? 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in a woman's breast, they are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes, they are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
Marilyn is going to put the chalice lighting words in the chat box. If you have a small candle or chalice of your own, we welcome you to light it with us. You may unmute yourselves as you wish. Feel free to stand as we all say our chalice lighting words together. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action.
Reverend Laura, we need you to unmute.
It's always tricky when that unmute, mute all works. So again, we'd like to welcome you. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we'd like to have a chance to get to know you. We're so glad that you're here. Our greeter today, Marilyn, is going to drop the connection card in the chat box so that you can be connected to our community as you wish. This is a caring and supportive community. And this has been a difficult year and a difficult time. If you find yourself in need of support or a listening ear, please reach out. Our pastoral care card is now being dropped in the chat box. It doesn't have to be a big emergency or a crisis. It can just be a request for a warm call from myself or a member of the care team, just letting us know how you are. We'd love to hear from you. All of our online services are intergenerational. And to find out more about our religious exploration offerings, please be in contact with our Director of Religious Exploration, Rebecca Britt. Her email is now being dropped in the chat box as well. We have a lot going on here at South Valley, and one of the best ways to get and stay connected is via our weekly newsletter, The Happenings. You can sign up to receive our newsletter by sending an email to Lori Quigley. Her email is now also in the chat box. You can also find her email on our website if you click onto our website at the bottom. Our community calendar on our website also lists all of our midweek events, such as Centering Prayer, our Buddhist meditation group, and various different committee and task force meetings. We are a welcoming community, and we hope that you will jump in and join us as you feel ready and interested. You can also find us on Facebook. We have 2 Facebook groups, a public-facing one and a South Valley Friends and Members page. We hope to see you there. Although we are physically separate, we are still connected with one another. We have just one announcement today from our auction committee, so I will turn it over to Kristen May for a brief announcement on the state of our very exciting online auction coming up.
Yes, thank you. So today I'm on vacation in Portland, Oregon. Not Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine, sorry. And I can't wait to see where you all decide to vacation at our auction this year. It's going to be on November 14th. And remember, you can vacation in a real place or imaginary place. It's your choice. We are selling tickets right now at auction.svuus.org. So this is where you go to buy your tickets, and also where you'll enter any items that you want to donate for our silent auction or events that you would like to donate. We are requesting that you do that this week. We're coming up, I think, like 2 weeks from the auction. So that helps us get everything ready for the auction if you'll buy your tickets and donate any items that you have. You can also see other things that people have donated to kind of get ideas if you're struggling on what you could donate this year. So my email's on that website, and my phone number is listed in the directory. So if you have any problems doing any of that, buying tickets or donating things, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help with the technical side of things. And then starting this Saturday and continuing on next weekend, we'll have times available for you to drop things off at the church for your donations. So like your silent items you would donate. And then we'll also be handing out the party favors for the party. You can also donate for the children's auction there, buy cocktail kits that you can use during the auction. And you can drive up and we'll take care of you. Or if you have a mask and are willing to do social distancing and limit our numbers inside, you can come in and look at the items that have been donated so far for the silent auction. So those times are all listed in the happenings and also on the Facebook members and friends site. And it's this Saturday and Sunday for the drop off and pick up times. And I'll be there all of those times as well to help sell tickets and enter your items. So don't let that stop you from participating this year. We want everyone there. Thanks.
We will now share the warmth of community. You are invited to unmute yourselves at this time. It will be a little chaotic for a moment, but you are welcome to call out to one another in the Zoom space or use the chat box to say hello and to let us know where you are joining from.
Voiceover off.
Hello.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's all in all.
Everybody.
Good morning, Nika.
Hello.
Hey
there.
Nice to see you.
Morning.
Hi. Hi.
Love the lipstick. I like the horns.
Where are you,
Our
Kaden?
dogs say hello too.
I'm in
Hi.
Minneapolis. Where? Minneapolis.
Hi, Janice. How are you?
Casey.
Hi.
Hi.
Good Halloween.
Good to see everybody.
Good to
Hi,
see everybody.
Ted.
Morning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Britt. I'm the Director of Religious Exploration, and I'm here to share a story with you. So today, I want to tell you about someone really important to me. I want to tell you about my grandfather. So he was someone who loved hiking. He spoke German and Swiss German. And my favorite memory with him is when he spent hours with me and my sisters making insect habitats out of plastic cake containers. So this is me and my grandpa when I was 11 years old, which is also the same year that he died. This is the last picture with him. So this is when we went hiking in Arizona. So he died when I was in 6th grade. What happened was my mom got a phone call and she quickly shuttled us over to a neighbor's house. And we were there so long, I figured something bad had happened. And I knew my grandma called him and I knew where my dad was. So when she came home and told me my grandpa died, I wasn't too surprised, even though it was surprising overall. For a lot of kids, a grandparent is the first person who you know really well who dies. And it's really hard because a lot of the time we see our grandparents a lot and we have fun things we do with them, and it can feel really unfair. When he died, I felt like I'd been cheated. A lot of the other kids in my class actually knew my grandpa because he was their minister. He was their minister the way Rev. Laura's our minister, but he was at a church that I didn't go to. And so I felt jealous because they got to see him on Sundays and I didn't. So I thought I'd never really get to talk to him about religion and connect that way. And also when he died, I just learned that he was an alcoholic who was living in sobriety, which meant that he had problems with drinking, but he hadn't drunk in a long time. And I was really confused and I could never talk to him about that. And I felt really sad. For a long time, I thought my relationship with my grandpa just wouldn't change. That was the way it is. But as I got older, I was happy to learn that I was wrong. So as I became more devoutly religious as an adult, members of my family started telling me about how my grandpa was called to ministry and the things we had in common. My grandma gave me this cross that he got when he graduated from college as a graduation present. And I started calling members of my family because I was thinking about trying to become a minister and I wanted to know more about how he did that. And I started to feel closer even though I hadn't seen him in over 10 years. But the biggest thing that happened was when I was 24, I was having a really hard time. I was having a hard time with big emotions that I just felt like I couldn't control. And I kind of learned that my grandpa struggled with that as well. So one weekend, I was living far away from my family, but I got on a bus and I took a long bus ride to go see my family to kind of get some love and support. I went to my grandma's new apartment and I kind of planned on just being casual and not letting her know what was going on. But as soon as I sat with my grandma who loved me so much, I just started crying. And I told her, I don't know what to do. I've been alive for 24 whole years. I should have figured it out by now. Why don't I feel okay? Why don't I feel better? She gave me a thoughtful look and she got up and she left the room. Now I knew my grandma, I knew that she had a plan. When she came back, she handed me this chip. So this is a picture of a chip that's about the size of the middle of my palm. And it has a triangle with Roman letters that add up to 24 in the center. So she told me, this is your grandpa's 24-year chip. And I knew what that meant now. I knew more about what it meant to be an alcoholic. That meant that for 24 years before he got this chip, he decided he was going to stop doing something that was making his life really hard. And that was really hard for him. And I looked at this chip in my hand and I thought, for as long as I've been alive, he was sober for that much time. And my grandma said, no, he was sober for more like 40 years. And I just kind of thought, I felt almost this relief. And I thought, you know what, if he can do something that hard for 24 years and longer, I can too. So this is the back of the chip and it has a prayer that I'm going to read. And you know what, when I'm stressed out, I kind of call on my grandfather's spirit and take out this chip and I read the prayer. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I know I'm not the only one who has continued a relationship even after someone died. Some people feel the spirit of those who they lost with them during tough times. Some have things, objects that make them feel closer. And I want to share this quote as the last thing that I read just days after I got the chip. So the quote reads, "Death ends a life, not a relationship. All the love you created is still there. All the memories are still there. You live on in the hearts of everyone you have touched and nurtured while you were there." This is by Maury Schwartz. So thank you for listening to the story, and I hope it was helpful in some way. All right, thank you.
This community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledge monthly to support our work, and for this, we are grateful. Your gifts help to ensure that we are able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. Part of our ministry at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our values and principles. Your gift today will support the work of South Valley, and for November and December, we have selected the YWCA Utah as our offering split recipient. This organization is dedicated to eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Their comprehensive family violence services offer adults and children safety, support, and meaningful opportunities to build violence-free lives. They also provide leadership and community education programs, such as the compelling 21-day Racial Equity and Social Justice Challenge. Materials are still available on their website that many of us participated in this past July. This community education program provides guidance for individuals and to learn racial equity in meaningful ways and build more effective social justice habits. Please give generously as we support this fabulous organization that is working tirelessly for social justice in our community. South Valley uses Giveify to collect online donations during worship. You are invited to give using the link that Marilyn is going to put in the chat box, or you can go to your phone and download the app. Thank you for your generosity and dedication to justice and love. Marilyn has put the offering words in the chat box. You are invited to say these words along with me. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.
Hey, everybody. So I want to pass along how awful Paul Mercer felt. He and I and Kim spent at least 2 Zoom meetings in the past week trying to get his sound just the way he liked it. And then this hurricane came through, and I guess 1 million or more people in Atlanta are without power right now, and he's one of them. So I figured that I would do a song that that he and I really like to do together. This is really one of the first songs that that I ever kind of went, wow, I could actually do this with somebody else. So anyway, it's one of the few songs that I have that's in a minor key. Ain't seen no doctor, He'll me never was. Ain't had no woman who could know me like she does. Ain't met no banker qualify as kind. Ain't met no preacher sell me peace of mind. Headlong the days fall through the night, and I can't see the morning light, the morning light. So wash away your pain and woe. There ain't no problem where we gonna go. We gonna go. Gonna go. Woo. Ain't work no magic that could take you popping your head. Ain't play no music that could feed you like a prayer. Ain't made no habit of the games of chance and luck. Ain't wanted much more than his guitar and my truck. And long the days fall through the night, and I can't see the morning light, the morning light. So wash away your pain and woe. There ain't no problem where we gonna go. We gonna go. We're gonna go. Woo-hoo. Ain't found no sense in staying angry about this life. Ain't cried much either about my sorrows and my strife. Ain't been no father like my father was to me. Ain't chose to fear God when he taught me to be free. And long the days fall through the night, and I can't see the morning light, the morning light. So wash away your pain and woe. There ain't no problem where we gonna go. We gonna go. Gonna go. Woo-hoo. Thanks, everybody.
For all that we have received and all that we have found the courage to give, may we be truly grateful. May these gifts be a blessing upon South Valley and the YWCA of Utah.
Tell me what.
As we call the directions, please stand as you are willing and able. You may turn with us to face the appropriate directions. During the ritual, there will be 3 places that you will be called upon to participate. At one point, your mic will be unmuted so that you can say the names of the dead that you are mourning or thinking of this year. At another point, we will have a time of meditation on those who you are thinking of. And at the end, you can light your own candle of remembrance for your departed dead.
Computer. Salt Lake City lies in a magic circle, with the canyons and their roaring winds to the east, the desert fires to the south, the Great Salt Lake to the west, and the lush, fertile farmlands and orchards to the north. Centered by the headquarters of the Mormon Church, the home of the Utah tribes, or Ute tribes, and their spiritual practice, a Buddhist temple, a Catholic cathedral, and many other houses of spirit.
We call the spirit of the East canyon winds, sunrise, and enlightenment. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
We call the spirit of the South, Utah desert, summer sun, the heat and fire of the will. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
Call the spirit of the West, Great Salt Lake, waters of the Jordan River, flow of feeling. Hail and welcome.
Hail and
Hail and welcome.
Hail.
We call the spirit of the North, lush fertile gardens and orchards of Logan and Weber County. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
Welcome. We call the spirit of center, the rich spiritual heritage of the LDS Church, Temple Square, the Cathedral of the Madeleine, the Native American faiths, and all the many additional faiths that have made this place a center of diversity in religious thought. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
Welcome.
We call to our mighty dead, hidden company, our ancestors. Join us as we feast in your honor. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome. Samhain is a pagan religious celebration originating from ancient Celtic spiritual traditions. It is celebrated from sunset on October 31st till sunset on November 1st. This is because Celts believed a day began at sunset. It is a historical celebration that has three aspects. One is the bringing in of the harvest. Two, it's a celebration of the new year in the Celtic tradition. And three, it is believed that the veil between the spiritual and the physical world is thinnest at Samhain. This lets us be close to our ancestors and the dead who have gone before us. During this ritual, we will honor our ancestors and meditate on the loved ones we have lost this year.
Say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even though I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. Until you're in my arms again, remember me. Recuérdame, hoy me tengo que ir, mi amor, recuérdame. No llores, por favor, te llevo en mi corazón y cerca me tendrás. A solas yo te cantaré, soñando en regresar, recuérdame. Aunque tengo que emigrar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra ya es llorar, ella sin duda este canto te acompañará. Hasta que en mis brazos tú estés,
Mucho amor a todos mis queridos hoy. Les quiero.
You will now be unmuted so that you can say the names of your departed ancestors and that you are thinking of at this time.
Gus Peters Sr., Hilda Hartman,
Ross.
Gus Peters Jr.,
Jason
Hunley,
What's
Brittany Spicer,
Wayne Rogers,
Ford,
Linda Young,
Rosie Draper.
Henry,
Edith
Don,
Swenson,
Ross,
Margaret,
Jerry.
Watson.
Thank
Gerald Peters,
Carlson,
Chuck Walter.
Dale Carlson, Stella and Ela.
Honey Gates. Honey Gates.
Joe Harton, Gustavus Adolphus, Peter,
Into this sanctuary, these names are received and welcomed and held and loved.
From the dawn of your birth to the sunset of your death, I honor you. From the missions you completed to your duties left undone, I honor you. From the seasons of your being through the cycle of your life, I honor you. From your time beyond the veil to your earth entrance back again, may the angels support you. May the Spirit surround you. May my healing love reach you. From this moment until the end of time, so mote it be.
You're on a knife
I'm
or
gonna
a
look at
fork?
it in just a minute, Rich.
Okay. You would need to look up you're on a fork or a knife?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. I think it would get me a little fork. Cut it up.
May those names rest quietly in our hearts. At this time, if you have candles at home that you would like to light in honor of your beloved dead, I invite you to be ready to do that. I will light 2 candles here in the sanctuary. The first candle will be for all of the ancestors of South Valley, for those that we lost this year. The second candle will be in honor of the COVID-19 deaths in the United States. This first candle is for those that we have lost in our personal lives and in this congregation. May their light grow strong, and may they light our way in the days, the weeks, the decades, and the centuries to come. We light the second candle for the growing number of dead due to the COVID-19 locally, in the United States, and in the wider world. May our leadership be emboldened to act in a way to protect us from ongoing unnecessary death. May we hold those families who have lost their beloveds in our hearts. If you would like to light a candle at home, I invite you to do so at this time, and to hold your candle in front of your camera so that all may see. Thank you. I'd also like to share, a few of you sent me pictures of your home altars. I'd like to share those with you just briefly. So my mother's recipe box sat for the better part of a decade, unopened and collecting dust on the shelf next to my growing collection of recipe books. It was a lovely brown wood, faded and scratched from use, and the best feature was the lid. It rolled open like an old-fashioned desk to reveal its brand of collected treasures. This was no fancy bookstore cookbook filled with hundreds of complicated recipes no one will ever make. No, this was a working box filled with my mother's favorite recipes, gathered from friends or neighbors, passed on from old family recipes, mainly handwritten in my mother's formal cursive, some clipped from magazines and pasted on a recipe card, others just a faded piece of paper folded up. When she passed away, it was one of the few things I kept, and I faithfully moved that box from apartment to apartment, lovingly storing it in each new cabinet as I carted my belongings up and down the state of California. I had big plans for that box when I had my own children someday. In particular, there was a handwritten recipe for Play-Doh that I was certain would come in handy. On occasion, I would roll its lid open and flip through the recipe cards inside. Chocolate zucchini bread, petite cherry cheesecakes, cheddar cheese sausage balls, and an unusual cookie recipe that included total cereal as one of its ingredients. They were all there, waiting for me. And casseroles, lots and lots of casseroles. These were the foods of my childhood, and they harken back to a time when food was simpler, before cholesterol-free, fat-free, flavor-free, convenience foods flooded our supermarkets and our tables. And the recipes were organized into the most curious of categories, a section each for poultry, beef, fish, and pork, a section dedicated just to, again, casseroles, one for potlucks and entertaining, and a whole section for punches and other party beverages. But only one section for vegetables, and no sections for the dairy, gluten, and nut-free of the world. Now, my mother's prime cooking years were the 1970s and 80s, the decades of liberation and the rise of the supermom, a time when women were expected to use their newfound liberation by doing and having it all. So, alongside the handwritten recipes for fudge and lasagna rolls are another kind of recipe altogether. Quick and easy, shortcut recipes, ready in 30 minutes, prized for their convenience and ease of preparation, not necessarily for flavor or freshness. Clipped from Good Housekeeping magazine or cut from the back of the hamburger helper box and pasted onto cards, their inclusion refutes the lie of the supermom. My mother made cookies from scratch, but I thought pancakes came from a Bisquick box. And I was shocked as a teenager when a friend's dad made them from actual flour and sugar. My mom worked full time alongside my dad in their computer consulting business and raised us too. So my childhood featured such monstrosities as impossible lasagna pie and impossible taco surprise. Both were basically appropriately seasoned ground beef under a Bisquick biscuit topping. Both adhered to the mantra of 30-minute prep in a single dish, and both can still elicit groans and eye rolling from my brother and me. But back to that box. There it sat, gray dust collecting in the ridges of the lid, a box filled with recipes that as a budding vegetarian, I had no use for. But I could not throw them out. I had so few things that had belonged to my mother left, and I could not bear to part with this as well. It felt sacrilegious. After my daughter was born, I tried to make a few of the recipes. I was determined to recreate a culture of shared togetherness that I had enjoyed with my own mom. But these forays into her recipe box were often frustrating. She never meant for me to inherit this box. This was her personal box, and as such, it contained all sorts of shorthand notes and embedded assumptions that she alone understood. So quite often, my first few attempts at recreation were disasters. Like the time I tried to make petite cherry cheesecakes, and it called for a 5-ounce can of Eagles brand milk. It turns out that Eagles brand milk makes 2 kinds of canned milk, sweetened condensed, and evaporated. And I made the wrong choice the first time. I cried as I washed them down the drain, first because they were ruined, and second, because I could not call her for that correction. To cook from that box was often to revisit my grief. So I avoided it for long stretches at a time. When my husband and I bought a house in 2011, we finally had a real kitchen to cook in. And for the first time, I had space for my gadgets, my china, and to entertain. As I unpacked my kitchen, I came across that box. I had just finished stacking my other cookbooks neatly on the shelf, favorites such as Vegetarian Cooking for Everyone by Deborah Madison, and It's always an adventure. I have no idea where you stopped listening. So I will just say that I will start. I was
For everyone.
You had just gotten your kitchen set up.
Oh gosh. Okay. So my kitchen was there and set up, and the recipe box would not fit in that cabinet. And so I took that box and I opened the lid, and I began to separate the recipes into 2 piles, keep and toss. In the keep pile, I kept things like Play-Doh and fudge and grasshopper pie and my grandmother's secret chocolate cake recipe. And out went the pineapple chicken, the impossible lasagna taco pie, and the Chinese meatballs. And as I moved through that process, it was something like a sense of relief that came over me, as if I was somehow completing something that I had started long ago. I was no longer afraid, I found, of forgetting something important, because I realized I could not forget. These recipes were and are part of my emotional DNA, and therefore are always available to me. Holding on to the cards did not demonstrate my loyalty. Using them, sharing them with my own children, and making new traditions. That was new loyalty and love. When I finished the sorting, I took this new smaller pile of saved recipes and slid them into a small photo album. And I slid this into the last space in the row of cookbooks, and it fit perfectly. And there they remain, carted from that house to another and another, and now to my home here in Salt Lake City. No longer mocking me, they invite me into memory and to shared time with my own children and my extended family. As for the box, well, it was worn and the lid was cracked and the hinges were breaking. So I gently placed it in the trash. I didn't need it anymore. And now when I cook with my own children, I tell them stories and remember how my mother taught me and her mother taught her, and back on through the generations. And on those saved cards, I have added my own notes next to my mother's handwriting. And someday I hope that my daughter and my son will scribble in their own notes as well. So may it be so. Amen.
We appreciate and give thanks to our mighty dead, hidden company, our ancestors, for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell.
We appreciate and give thanks to the Spirit of Center for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Hail,
And farewell. We appreciate and give thanks to the Spirit of the North for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Blessed be. And farewell. We appreciate and give thanks to the Spirit of the West for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Hail
and farewell.
Blessed be.
We appreciate and give thanks to the Spirit of the South for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Hail and
Blessed be.
farewell. We appreciate and give thanks to the Spirit of the East for your presence with us today. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
Hail.
Hail and
Blessed be.
farewell.
Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be.
Our final hymn today is I Cannot Think of Them as Dead. It's on page 96 in your books. The words should appear in the chat box next to you.
Marilyn is going to put the chalice extinguishing words in the chat box. You are invited to unmute yourselves, stand, and say your chalice extinguishing words together. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of community, the light of truth, or the energy of action. We hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.
Hey everybody. So I'm going to share my screen one last time here, maybe, if I can get this done. I wanted to share a picture of my dad. He was Jerry Lane, and that's actually me in the tub with him and our dog Futzer. So I'm going to do one last tune here. And it's a tune about the advice that my dad and my mom gave me. Jerry died when I was 21. He was 49. And so Rebecca Britt's words kind of rang true to me. It's sort of strange how your relationship sort of changes. I don't think my grief has really ever sort of gone away. It's just morphed into various other things. I don't know. My mama said, boy, gotta grow in your heart. She said the world gonna blind you from the start. She said the love that shines upon you is the meaning that you need to keep the ache away your days from going like a weed. You got to sow a little kindness, give up your doubt and no place your heart will take you is the place you need to go. Save me from the agony time, 'cause my days are inching closer to the line, and I got no prize to show. I got no meaning to opine. I got my mama's words. I got my mama's words. My daddy said, son, gotta face your fear and dread. He said, a man ain't got no blinders on his head. He said, no God will give you comfort, but your trouble heart can feel. It's way into the path of righteous men who don't conceal. The meaning of their lives is built like castles, each form of stone, each truth a treasure, place by measure, bought by blood and bone. Save me from the agony of time, 'cause my days are inching closer to the line, and I got no prize to show. I got no meaning to opine. I got my daddy's words. I got my daddy's words. Thanks, everybody.
Our time of worship is coming to a close, but our remembering goes on and on through the day and the generations to come. It is time to bid farewell. David Honoris writes in his Samhain benediction, it is time to bid farewell as this Samhain passes slowly. Soon, the day will come to its close and the sunset portal will close. Until the turning of the year, we must part just for a while. Yet I know there is no ending, and the golden thread spins outward to that place where you are going, until I travel there to meet you, or you return upon the autumn, on that sacred night of spirits, when we shall meet again. Blessed be, and amen. As you go forth into this week, may the wisdom of the ancestors surround you, wrap you in their deep care, and carry you over the threshold of this coming week. Reach out to one another. Know that we are here for everyone in this community together. If you need a little extra special midweek support, we have several different opportunities this week. As usual, we have our centering prayer on Wednesday and Friday. We also have a day of solidarity and prayer all day on Election Day, and that information is posted both in the happenings as well as in our Facebook. And then on Wednesday evening, there is a special Vespers service that I'm co-hosting with First Unitarian downtown. Take good care this week. We will get through it together. Blessed be, and amen. We'll take a moment for a break and then gather in social time.